Hello, this is the 2016 LEGO Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series set, the big one. This is Assault on Hoth. To help give you a picture of what this set represents, here's an arrangement that kind of focuses on just the Hoth base itself. So this is Echo base on Hoth in a somewhat sensible arrangement of how things would be, with a defensive perimeter up front. You got one of the ion cannons. Has a Wampa cave that's kind of stuck onto it on one side. You get some interior detail. It does include one snow speeder. There's a Tauntaun pen off to one side. And then separately we'll look at the power generator section and the stuff that's included for the Imperials and their assault. Out front, the perimeter section here represents the trenches of Hoth, so this gives you a nice cross-section of that with a selection of different weapons. And I think the snowbank parts here are built up pretty efficiently. There's a lot of different shaping, so it looks somewhat organic, but it doesn't waste too many pieces. It does use a fair number of cheese wedges in there, but the build made sense to me. I felt good putting this together as terrain builds. Terrain builds can take just tons and tons of parts, so these end up being a little bit small in scale, but I think it works for the scale of the figures. I very much like these heavy blaster emplacements. I like the builds of those. Got the black roller skate pieces used on the sides for a little extra detailing in there. And you can turn these around. You can also angle them up and down. So that's pretty nice. It's a little bit difficult to get a figure behind there just perfectly. Here I've got one that's set up that's actually holding on to the back of the thing with one hand. So that is possible. And then there's this turret right here, which is the anti-vehicle turret, which LEGO has done before in the Attack on Hoth set for 2013. They made a really good looking version of this thing. Here they've made one that retains the basic dish that's very important, but then they brought in the 6-shooter for an actual working action feature. So you turn the knob back here and it just shoots off studs, which promptly get lost. I personally don't like the design, the bulk of this right here. It doesn't look very good, and more importantly to me, it's missing the build-up on the back. But I don't know if they were just trying to save on parts there, or what the deal is with that, but I think it could have looked better even with the inclusion of the actual action feature. This is able to be angled up and down, and it is able to rotate around. They also include some of the anti-personnel turrets. 2 of them are included in the set. Here's one set up right now, and that is able to turn around, and beneath it, underneath here, you've got 2 spring-loaded shooters. So that can be loaded up with 2 of the standard style of spring-loaded projectiles that they're using right now. You don't need to put those in there, but if you want to, you can load them up. They just fit under here. A little bit unsightly with the tails that stick out, but if you don't like the look of that, just don't leave the projectiles in place. And these do work quite well, so I think that these are good for play value, actually being able to shoot stuff off. Hey, that one actually went right where I wanted it to, so I won't lose that part anytime soon. Okay, but yeah, if you don't like the look of it, just leave them out, and you can actually put somebody in the turret, sort of. You can sit a figure on top of there, so what I would do is just you can put them right there, or you can put them back here. It's not the best look overall, but it gives kids something to do. What I like most about what they've done here is they've made this kind of a modular system where you can pick up any of the turrets and just place them in different places. These also will stand up on their own, so you can place them anywhere you want. They don't need to be directly attached to this. They don't need to be directly attached to any sort of studded base. Even these smaller blasters will work with that same kind of system. So you can put this here, and this will work with a few emplacements on the main structure. So I could put this up here, put a minifigure up there with it. I could take both of these if I want. Anti-personnel turrets, put just one anti-vehicle turret right here. Put this one back, a little bit more symmetry that way, or just keep these completely separate, and just kind of opens up your play space and gives you a larger feeling area. So it kind of expands the base without adding anything to it. I also like the fact that you can alter the angles here. It's very subtle, but you can make this a little bit more flat, which makes it feel a little bit more open and like it covers things a little bit better. Peeling back a layer, just the main base entrance looks nice from the outside. Uses a couple of the so-called big ugly rock pieces here to take up a lot of space. I think that that is used well, kind of represents some rocky areas there. I think it integrates in well, and they have enough white pieces to make it really feel like it's snowed in very well. This shaping of the entrance is really good, and you can open and close the doors very easily. There's just a knob on the other side. We'll see it once I turn this around, but just runs these through a track. We'll open up that far and we'll close up, and it looks really good when it closes up because you just see the teeth just kind of interlocking right there. Now off to the side is something that I was particularly looking forward to in this set, the big ion cannon, and this is a nice design. I was really wondering just how round they had managed to make this, and while building it, it's a little bit tougher to do right now, but while building it with just the ball section itself in my hand, I was just rolling it around on the table. It's really round. It's a very well approximated shape, and as you can see, you can easily remove this whole section from the base. This can be turned up and down, and it has a really nice action feature in it. Just watch from the front. This has two spring-loaded projectiles here, and those will shoot out, so just watch what happens with the barrel of the thing. It's got that retracting, and then it shoots out one of the projectiles. You can do both of the projectiles at once, or you can do them in succession, or in two separate shots like that. It's a very nice build, a very nice Technic mechanism. A simple but nice Technic mechanism. But I don't like what the tip of this thing looks like, with just kind of the fake tip there that kind of represents a little bit of realistic detail. It's just a little bit off to me. What's not a little bit off is this. That's a lot off to me. This shocked me that this was actually the completed product with so many colors being visible here. The head designer interview in the instruction manual talks about the fact that a lot of different colors are used here, and he kind of talks about it playfully. I don't think that this is something to talk about playfully. This just seems incredibly unfinished. After all the work that went into designing all of this, you know, ignore just the tip right there. So much of this is so nice. Even the snow area around the base, I think, is very nicely shaped. But around the back, it's one of the least finished looking things around the back that I have seen Lego do. Especially just given how nice it is from the front. You can open up the top, and this is pretty nice. Once again, giving kids an option for integrating the figures in there. You can have a controller in the place, even though, you know, these things in reality, if you will, were remote controlled from inside the base. But yeah, just to give an option, I think is a nice thing. You don't have to use the option, but I'm surprised that they put so much effort into, you know, preserving a space for a figure and actually putting in some consoles, and that's a specialized sticker to show that he's targeting a particular Star Destroyer. Can't fully close this up with the person in there with the full hat like that. I haven't found a good pose. I mean, that's pretty close, but not all the way there. Oh, you know, come to think of it, I do wish they'd included some blue bolts to shoot with this rather than red ones. Would have been more appropriate. Next thing as we move around is the little Wampa Cave section, which feels awkward to me just in that it's integrated right into the side of the base. Like, why did Han have to travel so far if the Wampa Cave was right next to the door? Like, you know, R2-D2 could have just rolled right around the corner and seen what was going on, but you can also remove this. You can pull this out. It actually has Technic pins, just keeping that in there. So if you want this to be in a separate place to make it a little bit more appropriate, you know, farther away, you can do that, but this is just a way to kind of integrate it in, to bring it in closer. If you do pull this out, you notice that it's empty on the back, so it's hollow back here. If you bring it in and connect it to the base, it gives you a little bit of background there. It's a little bit inset with that large panel piece right there in the back, which I think works out pretty well. This is a little lightsaber launcher, and I kind of like just doing this. It's simple, but you know, just kind of imagine he's using the force and the handle is just starting to come up, but it's intended to really launch the thing out. So what they want you to do is this. It's kind of weak. You can just, you know, for imaginative play, you can easily just pull it out, you know, use your hands as the force. Luke looks pretty good there, hanging from the ceiling. We've got some icicles hanging down. You know, it's, like I said, it feels a little bit awkward that that's there, but it is what it is. Here's a little control center section back here with Leia looking at some displays. A little bit of, you know, those clear monitor systems that they use. And this is similar to what's been done before. Of course, we will look at the figures more closely, all of those, you know, a little bit later in the video. This has storage for weapons. You can connect minifigure weapons onto clips, or just connect these extra projectiles that are used for a couple different things in this set. And this is the main hangar area. So there are your doors. Doesn't look that great from the back, but it's not too bad. You know, the things aren't supposed to be pretty on the inside of the place, so this is okay to me. I wish that this was not red right here, but the rest of it is okay to me. This is the knob that you turn to open the thing up. This is pretty smooth. You see that it's got a shaft that goes here, so it's connected to both doors. And this has a clutch on it, so that if you get all the way open and you try to continue to open it, this just slips. So it's not going to break anything, it's not going to stress anything. That makes sense, and that's very well implemented, I think. We'll take a closer look at the snow speeder in a minute, so let me go ahead and peel that away. And then here's the next section of the base over here, which has the Tauntaun pen, so you can put the Tauntaun in place. You can see that as being feed if you want to, so the Tauntaun could be eating off that. Just has a little bit of delineation of the edges of it. And there's also this crane feature, so you can move some cargo around with that. Moves side to side like that, and moves out. You can kind of bring it down. We've got some crates in the set with this little cargo vehicle, little runabout, which actually looks pretty nice. This is a fairly simple build, uses far fewer pieces than I expected, but again, very good use of the parts count, I think. One single sticker there on the front works with the minifigure very well. Has just little wheels underneath, rolls very nicely, and you've got the tailgate in the back. You can bring that down, and these are just some crates that you can use with this crane, so you can just hook that up like so, and free that from its base, and go ahead and pick that up and move it around. That actually is pretty nice interaction. These crates have some stuff. So this one has 2 minifigure binoculars in there in white. That's cool. The Star Wars style of them, you know, the larger ones. And also this one comes with some stuff. 2 extra pistols. There's also some more equipment back here in the corner for doing maintenance on vehicles, mostly air speeders in here. And that's, you know, it's a nice simple little build. You can use it however you want. You can pull one of the ends of the hose out and use that for fueling, or you can see it as a vacuum cleaner if you want to do a little bit of a snow cleanup from the inside after a patrol or whatnot. This is a very strange feature right here. They have this lookout tower, which is trying to look like one of the lookout towers. Hey, look, it's Cliff Clavin. It's trying to look like one of the lookout towers from Yavin 4. They say in the instruction sheet that the designers took creative license here with the addition of this, saying that they think that every Rebel base would have one of these because Yavin 4 did. So this is their main lookout. Okay, interesting. Little locking mechanism there will hold it up so the guy can get a good view from a distance. All right, I'll take it. And that's just it for the base, the main area, and then this separate line of defense and one little utility vehicle. Now, I would have been angry if they had not included a power generator to Assault in this Assault on Hoth set. Fortunately, they did include one, and it looks pretty good, except for one thing. One thing is missing. There are supposed to be 4 of these lobes, and my memory from childhood of everything that I've ever seen of media of this event in fictitious history has those 4. It's very important for there to be 4, I think. So it's very strange that they included only 3 here. I think the scale of it is perfectly fine. You know, it's really scaled down. You look at it with a minifigure, but it's big enough. And I think that it works with some of the kind of fudging of scale that Lego tends to do. And that just keeps parts counts down and keeps costs down, costs for us consumers. This thing sticking out on the back is a lever for an action feature. It's very awkward how far it sticks out, and they did not need to have that blue piece visible there. The whole thing could have been smaller and not had any blue. It does that. Well, hey, there we go. These things are built identically. So you just build 3 of these, and they actually have each 2 identical halves. So you just do this in kind of assembly line style when you're putting it together. They're nice. They've got the transparent orange pieces in the middle to represent heat in the cores, and these are very easy to reset. So kids wanting to play with this and repeatedly come back and blow up the generator can do so, and you don't have to reassemble anything. You just put those back into place. I think that's a really smart design for the play value that does not take anything away from the looks except for this lever back here. And I think with the parts that are included here, you could make that easily look much better and still preserve the action feature. It just needs 4. Where's the 4th one? Lego has done a number of snow speeders, and I don't think any of them have been bad. I think that they've made some evolutionary changes over time. Some things you can agree with, some things you can disagree with, but just in general, I think that they do a good job with these. The basic shape and the basic design strategy with which they approach these, I think, is sound. This is one of the ones with the orange markings, which fans tend to like more. Not all of the snow speeders, the T47 air speeders, have the orange markings on them, but I think these do look better like this, just in general. I think between the white and orange and the white and gray ones, the white and orange ones just look better with this, with the color, and just in general, I think they're more memorable. The level of detail here, I think, is very good. It does rely upon some stickers. It's got this printed piece, that canopy piece that's been around for quite some time now. I like what they do with the blasters. The angling is good. This one actually has a stud shooter on the back rather than using a shooting grappling hook system. They just set that up to actually fire as just a turret, and then the grappling hook is done with just a manual wind winch. And there's plenty of string in there, so you can really pull this quite far out and tie it all around the legs of an AT-AT if you have one, or you could take on an ATST if you want to. I like this thing. Unfortunately, I don't have one of the previous versions to compare this to directly right now. I feel like this has a little bit more detail, mostly by virtue of the stickers looking a little bit better. I also feel like it's a little bit smaller than the last generation. Just a little bit more compact. I feel like the cockpit area is really optimized maximally. I mean, those heads are touching. I might just be forgetting things a little bit. Little console in the front there, little console in the back as well. Notice the feet kind of go up underneath that a little bit. These are not attached with any studs. They're just attached to those panel pieces with the feet. They just kind of get wedged in there, which works well, you know, keeps it nice and small, about as small as you can get. And surprise, surprise, it has action features built in. This one actually uses the spring-loaded shooters. On the bottom, they are well hidden away. You can leave the projectiles out if you don't want to see them, because they are just a little bit unsightly with just the tails that kind of hang out the back. But these work really well as far as integrating in with just the general way you would hold this to play with it, to fly it around. You can very easily access that. Works nicely. And like I said, you can just leave the projectiles out and just pretend that they don't exist if you don't like the look of them. Here's all the stuff from the Empire that's included with this set. So this is the assault part of Assault on Hoth. Well, this is the part that's doing the assault. I guess the rest is just being assaulted. You're supposed to add your own other sets, of course. I really like the build of this E-Web blaster here. I love the E-Web. It's very iconic to me. It was on the lunch pail for the official Empire Strikes Back original merchandise. It's just really big here. No, it's crazy big. It's insanely big. It's so big. Why did they make it so big? I guess they had to make it so big to make it look so good. I don't know. I kind of prefer just the smaller ones. I think the smaller ones work just fine. This one does have an integrated stud shooter on the top. And again, if you don't like that feature, you can easily leave that off. I think that it looks pretty good even just as it is for, you know, an integration with an actual working action feature. This was fun to put together. Nice little clever uses of parts, and it does include the all-important power pack, which has a couple of handles that can be placed in the hands of figures. And guess what? It has stuff inside. These open up, and you can store studs in there for your stud shooter. It's, I think it could have been a little bit better closed up from the side there, but no, it's clever. It's just a very strange scale. And then finally, on the Imperial side, you've also got this speeder, the snow camo version of the regular speeder bike. These are not very, they don't have much variance from one to the next. As soon as they came up with that idea of using the old three-wheel ATV frame as the base for these, they pretty much just continued iterating small design changes from one to the next. And I think this one looks fine. It's not necessarily the best looking of them, but probably looks pretty well finished at the back. You know, the guy can actually hold on to the handles if you just maneuver him around a little bit. It's good. It's fine. Here's the Tauntaun and the Wampa. These are using the exact same molds that they've used before. The Tauntaun here has a dark bluish gray colored saddle this time around. Has the reins on there. These two use the exact same pieces for their horns, just in different colors. The Wampa is able to hold on to a figure, and it's designed to do that, so he can be carrying his human prey around. And the Wampa is set up as just a regular Lego Big Fig, so the arms move up and down, and that's it. Nothing else can be changed. And faceplant he goes. Watch out for the center of gravity there, because he will either faceplant himself or, I guess, beg for forgiveness from the Tauntaun for eating the Tauntaun's brother. I don't know what the significance of that is, but that is an interesting little extra pose you can do with them. There's nothing that you can do with the Tauntauns other than move the arms, the little arms, up and down. You can also replace the saddle section with an included brick and tile piece, so you can make it look like it is unsaddled. Just kind of fills in that space right there. You can remove the reins. Like I said, it's the same design that they've had for quite some time for these, but I think it works well. Actually, for both of these, I think they work well. Scale-wise, the Wampa should be larger, but I think that relative to a figure, each one works just fine. So I'm satisfied with both of these. So let's look at some figures here. Left to right, it's Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, not Princess Leia. No, that's Torin or Taurine Farr. She's the one who gives the command to fire the ion cannon during the escape sequence on Hoth. Doesn't look particularly like that character, that person with the face, nor the hairpiece, but It's an officially named character here, and I do like the prints on the body and hips and legs. And then the last one on the right is billed officially on the set as just a generic Rebel officer, but that's Bren Derlin. Bren Derlin, ladies and gentlemen. Later to that actor, John Ratzenberger, went on to become more famous for the TV show Cheers, where he played Cliff Clavin with his glorious, glorious mustache. Very recognizable, background kind of off character. He did get a couple lines, something like that. He was seen a handful of times in Star Wars universe. I do appreciate that. I appreciate being able to get that as a figure. It's kind of legendary to me, actually, even though it wasn't a big part or anything. But it's kind of a little inside reference to history that went on to be made. It's unfortunate that we still see a little bit of the alternate faces for Luke and Han Solo both behind there, but the alternate faces are good. So a kind of healed up version or pre-attack version of Luke there. I'd say healed up, I'd say afterwards. The smiling version of Han Solo, and that's it's not that useful of an alternate face for Torian or Taurine. No alternate face for Cliff Clavin here. I mean Bren Derlin, yeah. But that's okay. I think for kind of a side character, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I just wish that this one had been done a little bit better. The others are fine. Here are some more officially named figures left to right. Wedge Antilles, yes, that Wedge Antilles. Wes Jansen, and then the droids, K3PO, a new version of K3PO. They've done one of these before, but this is with the all-new printing, all modernized. Looks great. And the astromech is R3A2, which had just a small little appearance once or possibly twice in the hangar scenes on Hoth. Nice one to get. Very nice one to get. Different color scheme, and with the transparent top, the transparent headpiece, I think looks great. The trans black that they've used there. A little bit difficult to see the print on that one, but I think it's done pretty nicely, except as is a little bit too common here with astromech head prints, it's crooked. You see it's a little bit higher, noticeably higher on the right, so that's unfortunate. These helmets are unique, completely different prints for those, and each of those looks phenomenal. I think they're just awesome in level of detail without looking too well detailed for Lego. It still fits in with the overall look. What I don't like here is that they use the exact same head for these two dudes. They're completely different people. If you're gonna give us named characters, I want to see different faces on them, unless they're supposed to be twins. And these aren't supposed to be twins, so why do they have the same faces? Now these two guys could be twins, right? You never know. They could be. You never see their faces. They're not named. I think it's perfectly fine. Actually, very good that these are identical. Just a couple of general massable troops here. It's too bad there are only a couple of them. It would be nice to balance things out a little bit more, but it's not the intent of this set. It's really focused around the Rebel side. And these look good. They have good prints on them, good molds for those headpieces. These are printed tiles on the back. Here's a look at the rest of the prints on the back of the torso. Torso is identical between the two, and the face is also identical between the two underneath of here. It's just angry clone. But like I said, these guys could be twins. They shouldn't be clones. This is a post-clone world, but they always have their helmets on, so I'll allow it. Here are a couple more unnamed figures back on the Rebel side. Just a couple of Rebel troopers with different faces on them, different facial hair. No alternate faces for these, and these do use the exact same uniform pieces as Torian or Taurine. Sorry, I don't know the proper pronunciation of her name, but yeah, same pieces, same prints used for the torsos, the hips, and the legs. That's what those look like from the back. Again, no alternate faces for either of these. And here are still more unnamed characters. These are just billed as generic Rebel troopers as well. They just have an alternate uniform, more of the outdoor activities uniform for not just being around the base, but actually going out into the trenches and such. Each one comes with a backpack in white, There's what the print looks like on the back of the torso, which is shared again between all three. No alternate faces, no alternate expressions for any of these. And with those helmets, just wanted to give you a little example of what that looks like with the visor down. Looks pretty comical with its position there, but they do give you that option. So this set, I think, makes for a really nice centerpiece and anchor for a display and also for play activities around the Hoth scenes from Empire Strikes Back. However, you know what's really a shame? They don't sell any other Hoth-related sets right now except for this one, Hoth Attack, which for all intents and purposes has the same stuff that's already in the set that I'm reviewing right now, so it's not really that useful to add on. What you need to make this full Assault on Hoth set a proper, full, completed reality and capturing of the essence of the great battle on Hoth is Imperial stuff. You need to be able to get more speeders, you need to get some AT-ATs, you need to get some ATSTs. None of that stuff is available to purchase anymore. It's all discontinued and only available from aftermarket sellers or places that may still have some old stock. So the set doesn't really work out in the general ecosystem of Lego sets that are available right now. Looking at this set just by itself, there are a bunch of things here that I like very much. I like the doors, how they're shaped from the outside. I wish they were just a little bit larger, opening up. I like the trench section and what they did with the modular turret design. Not the biggest fan of that anti-vehicle one, just in its aesthetics, but you can definitely modify that down a bit. The ion cannon is great to have included. I think that its size is fine. I love how round it is. I think the action feature with it is very clever and nicely done. The tip is not finished off all that well, but the back of the thing is just, yeah, not happy with the back of that thing at all. Just how open it is and how many colors that it has. The interior is okay. It's not all that well detailed. Could have used more in the command section or more stuff for doing maintenance on speeders. I very much like the little cargo runabout that they include there. Could have done without the Wampa Cave, to be honest with you. They've done the Wampa Cave before, and I feel like it doesn't really add that much to this set. It doesn't feel that appropriate for the base. This really feels like it needs to be all about the base itself. This is definitely not a collector's set. This is definitely purely a play set. It has some collectible elements with some of the figures, but it's obviously set up for a very, very lucky kid or multiple kids to play with together. Doesn't really belong in the lineup with other Ultimate Collector Series sets, so I personally just have to completely ignore the fact that it has the UCS seal on the box and just look at it for what it is as a play set. I think that it offers good play features, but it's lacking in other things to add to it. They really need to have other. They either should have balanced it off with more Imperial stuff, or they should have still had Imperial stuff relevant to the Hoth Assault that you could add on to this set. And for the price that you pay here, I really would have expected a more complete experience or something with a lot more display and collectability value. That's it for my thoughts on this set for now, but I am going to do an additional video that goes into more of just a pure subjective narrative tour through this thing, and I'm also going to directly address the groundswell of just unprecedented negative feedback from the teen and adult fan of Lego community regarding this set. Definitely have some things that I want to respond to there, and that I want to acknowledge and just come back with my own counterpoints and also parts where I completely agree. Please do share what you think about this set by leaving a comment on the video. However, please do refrain from any personal attacks against any individuals. Just generally refrain from saying things that you would not say to a person in person, face to face. You can really like something, you can really dislike something, but you got to be civil about it. So thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for my next one, which is on the way very soon.